But it looks good to Charlene and John Deere Green. Come on. The 90s country channel is earwormed into my head. That's right. What's going on, Jerome? It's a beautiful Thursday. Birds are chirping and stuff, and it's time for another Vikings news dump. He sees you when you're pooping. So I went on a rant yesterday about how you shouldn't just play audio on your phone. Like, you should have headphones, right? When you're out in public, especially when you're pooping. Someone was pooping in a public restroom with the sound on. Actually, I take it back. First off, you don't have to have headphones when you're watching this channel. Preferably volume all the way up, because I want the masses to know. We want the public to know about this crappy, mediocre infotainment channel. Very niche. It's very good. But we're kind of close to 100,000 subs, which would be kind of awesome. I want to get it because I think you get a plaque, and I'm going to give the plaque to my kid, and she'll enjoy that. She'll think that's the coolest thing ever. Anyways, something's not the coolest thing ever. So we left the Ringer out of our power rankings because screw them. But they got the Vikings at 11. And I understand, like, if there's fluctuations with the Vikings in the power rankings, which is fine. But you have an 8-2 team that has won some pretty impressive games. How you have them outside the top 10, you're just hating at that point. But the Ringer doing exactly enough to get by and nothing more. Which I know this is a family show, but so Bill Simmons, founder of The Ringer, he had a great quote in the book of basketball about Utah Jazz guard John Stockton, who frankly is still one of the best point guards of all time, defensively as well as distributing. He and the mailman should have won a ring. Didn't happen. That's what happens when you run into Michael Jordan. Anyways, but he had a quote about John Stockton where it's like, paraphrasing here, but it's, John Stockton plays basketball like you're stuck in the missionary position for 2 decades. Like, you're having regular funsies, but you're not exactly bragging about it. That's basically what they're saying about the Vikings, where it's like, oh, this, again, cool. I mean, you're winning, but I don't know, man. Something I do know is that you guys have crushed it last couple of years doing our annual Thanksgiving food shelf fundraiser. Every dollar donated to the show, the rest of the November, will be sent to various Twin Cities food shelves, including our friends over at Every Meal. So Super Chats, nailed it, during the live streams, as well as Venmos, Cash Apps, PayPals, etc. All of that will go to food shelves, and also you can donate directly to Every Meal. Links to all that stuff are in the description. It's a great time to pay it forward. I love this time of year, and you guys crush it every single year as well. So thank you very much, and let's do that up. Also doing that up. So a lot of hype around Brian Flores as a potential head coach now. The fact that he turned the Vikings defense in 2023 from bottom to middle of the table with the same personnel, and the fact that he got 0 goose egg D'Angelo Russell head coaching interview requests, it's kind of telling, because he does have the lawsuit pending, and now, I mean, everything that happened with the Dolphins, Tua coming out and throwing Flores under the bus, but I think that he really has grown a lot, and that's what you have to do in life. Like, did something not work out the way you wanted to? What can you learn? You either win or you learn. I think Flores definitely takes that to heart. So he should be in the middle of all the head coaching interviews and cycle this upcoming cycle, where he should get the Giants job. If the Patriot job comes open, sure. Cowboys maybe not so much. Flores isn't going to take a job just to take a job, but just in case the Vikings do lose him, who's going to be the next defense coordinator? So we put it out there. If Flores leaves to take a head coaching job, I think the Vikings stay in-house for the next DC. Durante Jones, defensive backs coach, as well as he does have experience being a DC at LSU a couple of seasons ago. He and Flores have worked hand in glove. Same thing with Mike Saravo. So Saravo is interesting because they've never had any professional crossover at any level, but they were college teammates at Boston College. So that's interesting. And if you listen to Flores' press conferences, he constantly gives a lot of praise and love to DJ, Durante Jones, Saravo, Mike Pettin, Marcus Dixon, defensive line coach as well. Pettin actually interviewed to become the next DC after they fired Donashell because, I mean, well, they wanted Jero Vero. He's like, no, right? And then they got Flores. But Pettin, I think Pettin is perfectly fine working with the outside linebackers as well as being assistant head coach. So being Kevin O'Connell's consigliere, I think they're fine there. But also, Jones and Saravo could leave, with Flores and join his new staff and become his rubber stamp defense coordinator. But who knows? Also, Rob Saleh, the guy that the Vikings got fired, but really it's Aaron Rodgers. That certainly would be interesting as well. Salah had a great defense with the Jets. He was a very good defense coordinator with the Niners before he got the Jets job as well. So he's good to go. Also good to go. So, the Vikings, they talk about inside running, right? And the Vikings have had issues with it, short yardage, red zone, and just they need to consistently be able to run the ball, right? But Aaron Jones, do you want to give him all those carries, keep him fresh late in the season? They like Cam Akers. But what if I told you that on the roster, there was a 5'11", 250-pound battering ram bowling ball of a running back, and maybe you should just give him the ball, right? Also, this running back is very adept at catching the ball out of the backfield as well as pass blocking. What if I told you that? They should use C.J. Ham at tailback. And remember, C.J. Ham, the pride of Duluth, former Augustana Viking, by the way, which you should have known that he was going to be good because he wore number 28 for the Vikings. Duh. NSIC represent. Winona State and Augustana, the only two good NSIC teams. I'm just saying. But back in the day, he ran for 1,000 yards, had 16 rushing touchdowns, had 3 in the air as well, 4.7 yards per carry for his career with the Vikes. Let C.J. Ham run. And just do it. Also, if you're down the goal line, since you benched Ed Ingram, he can still run block, and he's decent movement skills. Put him at fullback. When's the last time the Vikings had fun with personnel? I was actually racking my brain, and I think that it was it Norv? I think it was Norv and Lindvall, because Lindvall was at fullback for a couple of snaps back in the day. That's it. I mean, the hell, the Lions are throwing balls to offensive tackles. We can't get one guard at a fullback spot. Come on, man. But yeah, if you want to get back to just bashing fools in the head and getting some short yardage, C.J. Ham, Cortez Ham, unleash and go from there. Also unleash. So we were incorrect, because when we said that when the Vikings brought T.J. Hockinson back, like they have done with injuries, that player is given free reign, isn't on a snap count. And especially since they took their sweet time bringing Hockinson back, you're thinking, okay, unleash, but they haven't. So Hockinson has been on de facto snap count, 33, 39, 35, playing fewer snaps than Josh Oliver, and I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Hockinson looks 100%, and by all accounts and reports, he is. But maybe they're just trying to get him back into game shape. There's a big difference between practice shape and game shape. But he's going to get his numbers. Yeah, as evidenced in Jacksonville, had 8 for 72 on 9 targets. He was a first down on third down machine, but he didn't quite get the looks against Tennessee. I think that will change against the crooked Chicago Bears, given the matchup. But I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of it, but eventually Hockinson will be freed. And maybe it's a spot where they're trying to get him to peak into the playoffs, which certainly would be fantastic. Speaking of peaking, Cam Robinson getting acclimated to the Vikings. So, interesting midseason trade. You come over from Jacksonville, starting against the Colts, only 2 days of practice. It did pretty well. And then you had the Jacksonville game, which you can tell, there was a lot of emotions in that one. There was a little bit of bad blood there, as evidenced by his late hit personal foul. But also, he gave up 6 pressures, no sacks. But his former teammate, Josh Hines-Allen, is a monster, man. He really is. And then against Tennessee, he did give up 1 sack, but relatively clean. So basically, so far, he has a 75.3 PFF pass blocking grade, only allowed 12 pressures over 3 games, which is solid. 1 sack, it is what it is, and a 90.1% win percentage. You'll like to bump that up, probably around 94, 95%. And that's what's so weird about being a left tackle, is that you could have a 96, 97% win rate against an edge rusher, but if that edge rusher gets 1 play late in the game, a little strip sack action, boo, you're a bum, you suck, blah. That's what stinks, man. That's what's great about being an edge rusher too. You could win literally 1 time out of 20, and you're a conquering hero. And if you're the left tackle, you're a 0. It's kind of crazy, man. But Cam Robinson has been looking really damn good. I think it was a great trade that the Vikings made. Also, hey, Cam Robinson, Darisaw might not be ready to start the season next year, so how about you stick around, play a little left tackle, and then reduce inside. Little Roger Saffold action, huh? We'll make it worth your while. Then we'll sign Teevin Jenkins. And then we'll draft the Texas center, Majors. And then we have that complete O-line overall. And we'll sign Ryan Kelly, too. Why the hell not? There we go. Also, so I know the Vikings receiving core with Jefferson and Addison and Naylor, if you can catch the damn ball, is pretty damn solid. But you can always use more help, especially in the red zone, right? And Adam, JEROME, Ezekiel Thelen had a fantastic run here in the great state of Minnesota. The pride of Mankato State University Community College. But he took the money and ran, went to Carolina, refused to take a pay cut. It is what it is. The business is the business. But I'm not saying, I'm just saying. So Drip Master Flex on the old Twitter machine put out a montage of some Thelen Vikings highlights. I miss Thelen, man. And then someone named Marcy Biddle quote tweeted us at Adam Thelen this. The heart emoji. My daughter just started doing this. This is like our high five now. She'll put out one hand, and then I'll be like, ugh, okay, whatever. Yeah. So there you go. And then Adam Thelen quote tweeted that with the heart emoji. It's all coming back. It's all coming back to me now. So I know that Thelen left under less than great circumstances, and I know that there was some bruised egos and some bad feelings, and I know that Thielen's wife got kind of annoying, but it happens. But time heals all wounds, and even though Thelen is coming back from that hamstring, is going to be activated, is going to be good to go for Carolina. It's after the trade deadline, but here we go. Thelen requests his release. He's making $4.5 million this year. I mean, the Panthers probably want some snaps for the younger guys, so there you go. They release him, but since it's after the trade deadline, everyone, including veterans, has to go through waivers, right? But no one's going to claim him and that contract. So the Panthers will pay that out, but it'll be offset by whatever he signs for. So then, after he clears waivers, it's all coming back. It's all coming back to me now. He signs with the Minnesota Fighting Vikings for a league minimum deal, a little bit of offset. It's not ASAP Rocky, it's offset Rocky. On the Panthers cap, they save around $500,000. And Thelen comes on in as the wide receiver 4, 5, 6 for the Vikings, and he knows he's not going to get the targets, but he's part of a winning team. Chance to get that ring. Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that ring. And all of a sudden, like, hey, Thelen working on third down, middle of the field, slot machine in the Cooper Kupp type role. Also, Thelen in the red zone where he's very adept, and the Vikings have struggled. I feel like this is a win-win-win no matter what. Panthers win, they save some cap, and also get some run for the young guys. Also, Thelen gets to come back to the great state of Minnesota just in time for winter. Cool. He's probably going to miss that Carolina weather, but also the Vikings get a viable red zone short area option. And also, hey, you know what? Thelen probably catches that bomb that Jalen Naylor dropped, but also Thelen probably doesn't make it that far down the field. Anyways, hey, Thelen, think about it. Hey, Thielen's agent, think about it. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Also, Jared Allen, one of the greatest edge rushers of all time, high on the all-time sack list, and fifth time trying to get in the Hall of Fame. He was voted as a semifinalist, and we'll see what happens. There's a lot of fantastic first-time guys on the ballot, so I don't know. It might just be a numbers game. This is what's always weird about me and the Hall of Fame. I feel like you either are or you aren't. And, the 5th, 6th, 7th ballot things, I it took Chris Carter 6 tries to get in. That's ridiculous. Because I feel like it should be you get one shot. And I know that the Veterans Committee getting some old school guys in, that's great. But you either are or you aren't. It doesn't matter what the backlog is. It doesn't matter what happens in subsequent years. Like, you get in later just because there isn't a glut of guys at your position. Like, it doesn't matter that there has to be a maximum of 9 or whatever it is. Like, one year you have 25 guys go in. Next year you have 2. That's what it should be. You're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. They say your name and you say Hall of Famer, yes or no. Jared Allen, yes. Not saying, I'm just saying. All right, but hopefully Cowboy gets a ride off in the sunset into Canton. Plus, it'll be a great party. That'll be good times. Also good times. So like we said, Vikings going to remake that interior offensive line, and Bears guard Teevin Jenkins, which, the Vikings, beyond just taking away from the Packers, they've taken away from the Bears a time or two as well. And how about a double whammy? So you take the Bears' best offensive lineman and you add him to the Vikings, and Teevin Jenkins got a nasty streak to him, man. I remember him in the draft coming out of Oklahoma State. It's just like he's got a bad disposition, but I mean bad as in good, right? And you want attitude, you want size. Teevin Jenkins certainly brings all that. He's turned himself into a pretty damn solid left guard for the Bears. Great in run blocking as well as pass protection. And they seem to have no interest in re-signing him. I don't see the Bears franchising him, so give it to my baby. It's probably going to have to be a pretty sizable contract, but I'm fine with that. Hey, you want to get away from the undersized outside zone offensive lineman? How about 6'5", 325, full of nasty? Bring it. I love it. I love it, man. Make it happen. Also making it happen. Someone that Teevin Jenkins could be blocking for. So Ashton Jeanty, the record-breaking running back from Boise State. Latest mock draft from College Football Report, Shador at 1 to the Raiders. This only works if the Raiders also hire Dion. Yeah. See, Hunter. All right, so Colorado goes 1-2. Go Buffs. Buffalo goes to the Titans. Seems like a waste. He goes to the Titans. Cam Ward to the Browns. Blah, 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 blah. But most importantly, the Vikings are at 28, which I don't know, seems kind of early. They'll be drafting at 32. But Ashton Jeanty gets to the Vikings at 28. Now, I feel like the hatred and discarding of running backs has gone by the wayside. I think that they are starting to be valued again. But does Jeanty get to 28? I don't know. I see him as potentially like a mid-first round pick, but of course it's extremely early in the process. But Jeanty's special, man. Like I don't give a rat's ass about competition level. Like this dude is absolutely special. The traits are there. The vision, the patience, the balance is key too, right? So he can run with speed, he can run with power. But what's amazing is how many broken tackles he has, not just because of just power. Like this isn't a largest kid in Pee Wee football just running over people, but the balance is there. The angles is there. Like no one really gets a clean shot on him, and if they do, he's able to keep his feet. And it really is amazing the amount of contact balance that he has. That's the best part of his game. And Jeanty out here just crushing souls, look like Barry Sanders week after week. I think that he should win the Heisman. I mean, respect to Travis Hunter, but being an above-average corner and above-average wide receiver at the same time, that doesn't mean Heisman. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. But Jeanty behind a rebuilt offensive line, J.J. McCarthy having a vicious running game along with Hockinson and Oliver and Jefferson and Addison. I kind of like it. Baby. So please, baby, please. I've never begged for anything in my life, but this would be good. But if not, a great defensive tackle, a corner. It's your offensive lineman. Can't go wrong. Anyways, that is it. Vikings news up on this wonderful Thursday. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol. Production value.